Hey guys, my name is Aldas, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Rich Energy. Now, this video is going to be basically sort of uncovering or trying to uncover sort of the mystery behind the brand and whether this business really is real or fake and how long it will last in F1. Now, obviously this is it's a very interesting topic, this, because obviously I'm going to be doing it from a Formula 1 point of view. This is an F1 channel, but I'm going to be talking about Rich Energy because in their short history in Formula 1, they have had already a little bit of controversy, and they definitely divide opinion. So I just thought it was an interesting video to make, and like I said, uncover some of the mystery behind behind the brand of Rich Energy. Now, also, just to clarify, this video is not basically, it's not a joke piece or anything like that. It's not designed for me to be negative about Rich Energy. It's just me sort of trying to analyze Rich Energy, try and find a bit more about them, and maybe tell you guys some stuff that you don't know about the company, and also then at the end giving my opinion. So yeah, this is not, a joke piece or anything like that, or me trying to roast Rich Energy, nothing like that. So yeah, basically the way I'm going to sort of structure this video is at the start, I'm going to be talking about Rich Energy, the company, then I'm going to talk about their Formula 1 involvements throughout the past year, and then in the end I'm going to give my opinion, some of the positives, and also some of the negatives, and maybe some of the concerns I have about Rich Energy in F1. Also, a very important thing to note is that all of the information that I have obtained through, watching videos or reading articles, it's all in the description below. All of the links will be there. I get comments all the time about saying, where did you get this info from, that and that and that. It's all in the comments below, so check that out. And also, in this video, I'll also be referencing all the time an interview that the CEO did with Peter Windsor. Now, that was a great sort of interview that he did. It was a two-part video, and there was another video actually he did as well for, I think it was motorsport.com or Autosport, someone like that. So definitely go check those out. Those were great pieces by him, trying to answer some of the questions that we had from the man himself, the CEO of the company. Got a little bit of criticism, actually, one of the interviews did in the comments, and I just thought it was great journalism, to be honest. So I'll be referencing those interviews a lot because that's sort of the biggest interview that the CEO has had. So definitely go check them out. Now, don't forget, if you want to support the channel, then like, subscribe, that'll be massively appreciated, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be, I think, bottom left for this video. And don't forget, the format, yes, is a little bit different from my channel recently, just because of copyright. There might be some pictures in this video, but not too many. So just remember, I know I want to improve the content with better pictures, but there have been copyright issues, so please just be patient with me. Everything will be back to normal. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into Rich Energy. So who are Rich Energy? Now, Rich Energy is a British premium energy drinks company that was started about 6 years ago and is run by a man called William Storey, who is the CEO of Rich Energy. Now, needless to say, he is definitely an interesting character and definitely has a unique look about him. That's something that a lot of people have pointed out. He definitely looks, really, with that massive beard. He's definitely a recognizable character, which I actually quite like, Now, what's really interesting is also a little bit, I suppose you could say, outspoken, and is definitely passionate about his brand. When Rich Energy and Haas launched their 2019 Challenger, there have been people that have been doubting his company, and he said, and I quote, "Doubting Rich Energy is like saying man never walked on the moon." So definitely an interesting guy, and yeah, that we'll definitely get onto him a lot more throughout this video. Now, obviously, like I said, Rich Energy, the brand, is a energy drinks company. And straight from their website, they say that they are a premium energy drink, an exclusive product as well that is designed to be basically better than the already established energy drinks. And it is absolutely no secret that this man basically wants to take Rich Energy and compete with the likes of Monster and, more importantly, Red Bull. Now, a very interesting detail that a lot of people have sort of noticed that you won't be able to find a can of Rich Energy in your local Tesco's or Asda or anything like that. It's obviously part of their, more exclusive sort of brand image. But they do sell their energy drinks online through their website and on Amazon as well, I found. And also they distribute to sort of casinos, bars, clubs, hotels, and certain pubs as well. Now, despite not having a sort of massive high street presence, William Storey actually did say last year that they sold 50 million cans, and this year when they launched the Haas car, said that they produced 90 million as well. Now, I'm going to obviously guess how that's throughout their entire sort of history of Rich Energy. So, despite us not being able to find that many, or despite not having a massive high street presence, by his account, they are selling. Now, also, Rich Energy have a big involvement in sport and with athletes, and obviously this will lead on to the bigger conversation of Formula 1. They have quite a few sort of brand ambassadors, including a lot of athletes such as boxers, footballers, and various drivers and riders in motorsport as well. Now, like many people, the first time I had heard of Rich Energy was in the world of Formula One. Now, obviously, when Force India, during the mid part of the summer of 2018, were going through their financial issues, and they, of course, eventually did go into administration, just before then, Rich Energy actually did try to buy the entire team, like in its entirety, out. Now, of course, in the end, they did not manage to buy the team out. But the funny thing is that apparently they were the only company that put down a formal offer to actually buy the team. So that's very interesting. And they still got denied by the courts. And obviously, for good reason. There's there's definitely certain reasons why they got denied. And I'll get to them in a second. And of course, the team went up into administration and then eventually got bought by Lawrence Stroll and a consortium led by him. Now, Rich Energy definitely had the money behind it. And this is where it was really interesting, because a sort of company that we never heard of, a drink that we've never seen, has had enough money to try and go out and buy a Formula One team. Obviously, at a very, probably a discounted price considering they're in financial issues, but there's definitely money behind this business. There's no doubt about that. And William Storey himself has said, and I quote, that they have 4 sterling billionaires. So 4 billionaires basically back in the company. And I have no doubt about that. To be such a young company and go out and try and buy a Formula One team, you've got to have money behind you. And looking at the brand deals that they've done and everything, they've definitely got money behind them. It's just obviously whether or not the business is making money. That's a completely different question. Now, obviously not knowing the fact, but if I were to guess as to why I don't think they got the team in the first place, before it went into administration, and why it got basically denied by the courts and the lawyers, is because even though they had the money, and like I said, that's no doubt, they even put actually a late sort of £30 million sort of push to get the team, so they definitely had the money. I think the reason why they denied Rich Energy was quite simply, yes, like I said, they had the money, easily had the money, but they did not have a proven track record, not only as a racing car business or a motorsport business, but just as a business full stop. This is a very young, energy drinks company, completely different to Red Bull, by the way, in the mid-2000s. Red Bull, when they bought out Jaguar, was a completely different scenario. They had already been in Formula One for 10 plus years as sort of a sponsor to various teams. I remember Sauber, and they had a very large involvement in motorsport full stop. I think they had actually a Formula 3000 team. That's where Christian Horner actually came from. So it's a completely different sort of perspective with Rich Energy, because they are a young company, no track record in Formula One, and no track record in business also, because they're such a young company. And what about if 1 or 2 years down the road the business would have gone bust and the money would have dried up? We would have had another situation like Manor, another situation like HRT or Caterham that we had from 2010 to 2016. And then again, the team would have gone into administration again, they would have gone bankrupt again, and we would have just seen this all over again. And that is not good for the people that are working there, for the drivers, and for Formula One full stop. So I definitely can see the reasoning as to why their track record, or their lack of any track record, prevented them from buying Force India. Now, despite him not being able to secure that Force India deal and buy the team outright, he did actually eventually go to McLaren and Williams and try to look for a sponsorship deal there. Now, an important thing to mention there is that those are all British teams, Force India, McLaren, Williams, and he really did want to be associated with a British team because, of course, he has a British business. That never worked out really, because obviously, after the Force India deal, he didn't look to buy out Williams or McLaren, obviously, but he just looked for a sponsor and sadly got denied. But he did eventually find and struck a deal with the Haas Formula One team, who of course are American, to be a title sponsor for 2019. This was announced in mid-October. And, when it really became official, because we heard about Rich Energy obviously throughout the summer and then being interested, and there was a lot of talk at the time. But when they did finally get announced, the Formula One sort of community really did have a lot of doubts and definitely had a lot of things to say about Rich Energy. And that obviously brings us to where we are now in 2019, looking into the new season of Formula One and this obviously brand new partnership of Rich Energy and the Haas Formula One team. Now, both the brand and just like the owner are very outspoken. They love to champion their brand and, all for it, And it's obviously been a very interesting, the sort of reaction on Twitter, like we've seen over testing. Every single time Rich Energy or the Rich Energy Haas car finished ahead of Red Bull, which by the way in testing means absolutely nothing. But every single time the Haas Formula One team finished ahead of Red Bull, they just went crazy on their Twitter. Rich Energy did, and they just with the superior power, superior performance fueled by Rich Energy beating Red Bull. When we really know during the season they're not going to be anywhere near Red Bull. And it's the sort of wider competition that the company wants to have with Red Bull. They want to be, have an off-track and on-track sort of competition with the company. And, that's what they want to do. That's sort of their brand image as sort of the underdogs, the British underdogs. And that really does match the ethos of the brand, really. And all the way back to their CEO as well. So it has met obviously a lot of criticism, and I'm not even going to lie, like even I put something up about that on Twitter saying, Rich Energy acting like they're title contenders, hashtag Q or something like that. I'll pop it on the screen. I think that's exactly what I said. I also had to join in a bit of the banner because they definitely are aiming high, and all the best to them. What can I really say? But it does open them up to a little bit of sort of scrutiny about, are they really being serious about Formula One? Are they in this sport just to be with Red Bull? Are they in this sport really just to show that they're up at the top level with Red Bull when they're really not actually competing with them in terms of winning anything? Or are they really a serious brand that I want to invest in Haas, the Formula One team, and not just this sort of image that they have of fighting Red Bull and being really the superior power? And the only reason I say that is, of course, they're in Formula One for the commercial value, but I really don't want it to be. I don't want this battle between Rich Energy and Red Bull to be to the detriment of the Haas Formula One team, and sort of making them look a little bit like mugs, because that's not right. So I really hope that their intentions in Formula One aren't just to do with Red Bull, but also to help the Haas Formula One team in the future. But anyway, despite all of the criticism and everything, I will say one thing, and is that I am looking forward to seeing what the Haas Formula One team and Rich Energy can do in 2019. No doubt, this company we've already seen through testing is got some Twitter bans, so that'll be funny. But we'll have to wait and see what it's like for them in 2019, and we'll have to wait and see what their history will be like in Formula One. Whether this will be a long-term partnership, whether it's going to go any further, whether Rich Energy will eventually buy their own team. Well, only time will tell. Now, leaving Formula One and sort of coming back to the brand of Rich Energy itself, I want to talk about some of the main criticisms that a lot of people have shared over social media and various other platforms, and there is a lot of mystery around this brand. Now, firstly, there's the product itself. Now, lots of people have been talking about the fact that you can't find this product anywhere. It's not sold in sort of regular high street shops. Now, to me personally, that is not really a big factor, and it doesn't really tell me anything, because to be honest, it is very difficult to get a brand new, food or drink company onto the shelves of Tesco's, and it is obviously very expensive as well, clearly. So I'm not really surprised that, I'm not really worried that you can't find it in a Tesco's, because many businesses, and if we're being honest, talking about business as a whole now, sort of away from Formula One, the high street is dying. So, and the internet and online businesses are booming. So that is why, if Rich Energy want to be an internet only or a online only sort of company that provides to organizations and events, then that's absolutely fine. That is their business model, and apparently it's working for them. So fair enough. So the fact that you can't find their drinks on shelves in Tesco's doesn't really worry me, to be honest. And also, what William Storey is trying to do with Rich Energy is build the brand. So not really, I think the energy drinks part is just something for him to start with, and it's all about Rich Energy, the brand. Clearly, the fact that they're exclusive and they're trying to get in this sort of market, they're trying to be like a Ferrari or a Louis Vuitton, these sort of really exclusive and high-end brands that are in low quantity but at very high prices, and I think that is exactly what he's trying to do. But sort of the really big differences between, the likes of Louis Vuitton and Ferrari is that when they started, many, many years ago, is that they have heritage, and that is the really big thing. The Ferrari, they started making cars, again, very expensive race cars back in the 1940s, but they have a racing heritage way beyond that. It's the same with Louis Vuitton, who obviously make very expensive bags and clothes and stuff like that, but the actual person that started the company, the guy whose name is on the brand, was actually a bag maker from many years ago, back in the 19th century. So there's massive heritage behind these massive labels and these big brands that Rich Energy just does not have. And perhaps this is what is turning a few people away from from Rich Energy, is that they've come into this market, saying that they're really great, they're better than everyone else because they have a superior product, but there's just no heritage, and we can't really associate the brand with anything other than, them coming in as the new guys and saying that we're better than everyone else. So I think that's one of their sort of problems. And I think their attitude and the way obviously they are is, clearly it's what the brand is about. But I think it's turning quite a lot of people away and also drawing a lot of criticism as well. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about is the big thing that a lot of people are worried about, and sort of the thing that people are most skeptical about, and it is the money. Now, there is definitely quite a bit of stuff that does not quite add up with this business, because even in the interview with Peter Windsor, Peter sort of tried to sort of find out a bit more about the money, and yes, you have backers, but what kind of revenue and everything like that are you making? How is the business actually doing? And also, why are there certain things that just do not add up when you look the company up on the government website, Company House? There are just certain things that don't make sense. I mean, to give one sort of quick example of what sort of financially doesn't make sense is that if you go on their website, they have a section about them, and it quite clearly says that they have a cutting-edge £50 million manufacturing facility where their cans are made in the UK. However, if you search up their company on a website called Company House, which is a government website where businesses that trade in the UK are all registered in. They have a balance sheet report that is from 2017 or the end of 2017, which is the most sort of recent one that is up to date. There is a statistic that basically tells us what their tangible assets are worth at the end of 2017. Now, tangible assets are land, property, equipment, stuff like that. Stuff that is actually physical to the brand. And here's the thing, I mean, it says that it's 17,676 at the end of 2017, and on their website it says that they have a £50 million, manufacturing plant in the UK. It's just stuff like that that doesn't make sense, and I'll actually link once again the page to Company House, and you can see Rich Energy and their balance sheets, or their most recent one, and all the statistics and everything like that. And it's just stuff like that that doesn't make sense. So there's definitely a lot of questions and criticism about the validity and the legitimacy of this business. And going back to Formula One, I mean, how is this going to affect the Haas Formula One team? I mean, they've obviously put money down on the table and have a sponsorship deal, but how is this going to affect the team? But that's the really interesting thing about this company, and sort of the mystique behind the company in terms of Formula One. I mean, less than a year ago, they put in a bid of over £200 million, that about $280 million, I think I saw on some source, to buy Force India. And that's a huge amount of money for from a company that we've never seen before, we've never heard from before, but clearly they have some very, very big investors with very deep pockets behind them. But there's just stuff that doesn't make sense about the company. There's stuff on the balance sheets that doesn't make sense and doesn't add up. But yet they still have the money, they still have the massive ambition and this massive sort of rivalry with Red Bull, trying to beat them and basically being the biggest energy drinks company. It's a very interesting situation, and I find it fascinating to sort of see where it's going to go. Are they real? Are they not? My opinion is, of course they are a real company and a real business, and I think they will definitely, help Haas hopefully improve in Formula One, but there's just stuff that doesn't make sense to me financially. There's stuff that doesn't make sense to me about the company, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where everything is going to go in the future, because the truth of the matter is, I don't know about this company. I don't know whether it's real or fake, but I cannot wait to see where it's all going to go. But anyway, guys, there you go. That is my video on Rich Energy. I really want to know what you guys think, because Rich Energy always seems to just... It definitely divides opinion, and there's definitely some interesting opinions that I've seen, on Twitter and on YouTube about the company. So tell me everything what you think in the box below. That'd be great to hear from you guys. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be bottom left. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.